Right, so we're a couple of days away from the new Hearthstone expansion, Witchwood, and, you know, whilst we're waiting, I'm going to entertain myself with Jade Druid on the Wild Mode ladder. We are playing Hamster's deck. Now, Jade Druid needs no introduction from me. You guys all know what it's about and how it works. You ramp up, that's the strategy in the early game, play some of your Jade cards, develop your Jade Golems, watch as they grow. You know, you then sequence into the late game. You know, you control the board with the likes of Swipe and Poison Seeds. You have Wrath to pick off pesky, low health, aggressive minions. You've even got Spreading Plague in this deck to counteract against aggro decks that go wide on the board. You have, of course, Ultimate Infestation for card draw, refilling your hand. And as you get to the late game, of course, all of the Jade Golems will have grown massively, and you just win the game. This deck feels like it is very flexible. It feels like it can deal with aggro decks. You have Wild Pyromancer and a multitude of cheap spells, so you can kill off those pesky Silverhand recruits. You have, you know, the big Jade Golems that can carry you to victory against slower control style decks. You just got to be wary of cards like Skulking Geist, which can essentially lose you the game. But yeah, not many people seem to play Geist, so I guess it's okay. You can assume that your opponent won't have it, or you can't play around it anyway. So yeah, this is a fun deck, and if you're looking for something solid to ladder with, that can do well against aggro and do well against slower decks, this is a decent deck. Now, obviously, you can get overrun by aggro, you can, but then any deck can get overrun by aggro, including other aggro decks. So anyway, let's have a look at this deck in action. On the Wild Mode ladder, we're at rank 5, and we're going up against a Warlock. Now, we don't know what kind of a Warlock this is. It could be Cube-Lock, it could be Zoo-Lock, it could be Giantslock, it could be Demon-Lock. It's the beauty of Wild Mode. You do see a lot of different decks. And even with Mistress of Mixtures, we still don't know what it is. Now, I could tank 2 damage there, weaken the Mistress, but I've chosen to go face. Let's see where that strategy gets me. Jade Blossom is good for us, it's ramp, and it's something to do on turn 3. Our first 2 turns were very, very slow. At least this gets the Jade Golem train going. Okay, I'm going to go for Nourish here. I'm going to draw... not draw 3 cards, I'm going to gain 2 mana crystals. Now, if I'd attacked into the Mistress previously, I could have killed it now. So, bit of reflection there. Need to think back, was I making the right plays early on? So, what's the strategy here? We are... Oh god, here we go, there's an Argosy Witch. We are aiming to play Ultimate Infestation as soon as possible. And that's a lot of damage on board. I don't think I can tank that. So Poison Seeds is the play here. Now, I could have comboed Poison Seeds with Dirty Rat, but I didn't. Here's why. I want to develop some Jade minions. I want to get something on the board. That's the idea here. On reflection, it was probably a good idea to play the Dirty Rat just to bring out another giant. Trust me. So perhaps it was a misplay. Perhaps. Anyway, in this situation here, I have some choices. I have Fandrel, which I could play for a body, along with Jade Blossom. But this is a much more sensible choice. 2 taunts. I could have summoned the poisonous minions, but they would just die to the 2/2s. If the little trees were not on the board, if it was just the giants, then I would have considered the poison minions, but it's fine. And Lotheb, there, very timely. He knows that I've probably got Ultimate Infestation in hand.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
So I've just played Fandral for the body. It looks like Fandral will tank 5 damage there. He does indeed. You don't want to leave Fandral up if you have a choice, obviously. So now it's a choice between Ultimate Infestation and Swipe and Jade Blossom. I think Ultimate Infestation is the obvious pick here, just because it refills our hand, gains us armor, puts a body on board. It's really strong. It's broken, actually. And we're actually in a fortunate position where we're not going to mill ourselves or overdraw. And there's a very nice selection of cards coming through. I think now we have to double trade. But now we're just going to continue to develop these Jade Golems. They're growing.
From the void I come.
Okay. Double Void Lord is somewhat scary. Well, it's not scary. They're only 3 attack. It's the health that's a concern. So the priority here is to flood. We go super wide on the board, and now our Jade Golems are going to trade in and kill his Void Lords. That's the plan anyway. Bloody hell, that's a really big defile. That just cleared all of my big golems. But what makes me somewhat curious is, why did he Hellfire? Why did he kill his taunt, his Void Lord? What is the purpose of that? Is he scared of silence? Is he trying to set up for Blood Reaver Gul'dan? I don't get it. Is he just trying to block my path? Is he scared that I'm just going to build a board and he needs 3 taunts in the way? But he would have had that anyway. I don't know why he Hellfired there. It has to be a setup for something. Maybe I'm being really dumb about this, and maybe you guys can spot why he's done it.
I will not be.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the giants come down. He wants to build a wall to protect the giants. But again, that would have happened anyway, because I'd have had to trade it into the taunt or use a spell to kill it. Right, well, he's trying to build a wall. I'll build a wall too. Except my taunts are slightly bigger than yours. The question now is, how do we proceed? We have Wrath in hand, we have Swipe. I like Swipe because it kills the 2-1 for free. The Naga Sea Witch is still alive on the board. That's a problem, potentially. He can now play more giants. Now that is a value play. 5 cost Mal'Ganis, 5 cost Gul'dan. That's insane. Thankfully for us, we have Swipe and Wrath. So the idea now is to kill Mal'Ganis. The demons lose the buff. And we're in a good spot. I mean, there's still a giant on board, but we're still in a good spot.
Blight and rot.
Okay. He has to get through the taunts. That's not going to be easy. He could be looking at a second Defile play if he can get the minions down. Okay, he's working very hard here, very hard to try and remove my board. So you'll remember, I shuffled 3 Jade Idols into my deck. There's one of them. We buff up our Spellstone, clear the Fat Giant, make a Golem. Yeah, and that's that. So now my Golems are bigger than his Giants. They trade favourably, fancy that. Now, the Giants variant of Warlock, I don't think they usually play Enzoth. So he played Gul'dan, and now essentially all that's left of any remaining Giants, which I am not scared of because of my Jade Golems being so big. So, yeah, you either face, why not? And we're nearly out of cards now. But we can keep shuffling. We can keep shuffling Jade Idols, and then we can use branching paths to draw. So this is a generally a really good position. The only thing we're scared of is Skulking Geist. But as I said before, I don't think many people play Skulking Geist. So we're just going to keep shuffling now. What's the best way to do this? We're just going to play it safe, obviously. Draw a card. I believe it's going to be Jade Idol. Yep. And we develop 2 massive Jade Golems. So now, even if there are Giants left in the deck, they're not going to do much. And given my armour, and the ability to gain more armour through branching paths, I guess theoretically I could just go face, I could ignore everything. I'm just going to have a bit of fun here.
I'm almost out of cards.
I believe I have some kind of lethal. With branching paths, +1 attack, +3 damage from my hero power. But I don't care. I don't think there's any way that I can lose this game now. I'm just going to build big, fat golems. Deal with that. This is really satisfying because Giants can, Giantslock is considered to be one of the most overwhelming decks in Hearthstone. It's ridiculous what it can do. What it can do early in terms of developing big threats. So to beat it with Jade Golem just feels so satisfying. And look, he's trying so hard. He's trying so hard, but he's out of threats. And we can just build some more golems. And we'll trade if we could trade and build more golems. But no. Let's not be here all day. We just end the game. And there is rank 4. Okay, we're going to look at one final highlight. Now, we talked about Giantslock being quite an oppressive deck. Difficult to deal with when they get started. Mill Rogue is another deck that is very hard to beat. Particularly if you're a slow deck who hoards cards in your hand and they just mill you and you fatigue and you just lose. However, oh dear. Oh dear. Will he buff it again? He's gonna trade. So I sense a Blade Flurry here. Yeah, so they mill you. They buff their weapon. They replay the weapon. You die to fatigue. They hit that weapon, into your face, and you lose. Okay, so there's Vanish as opposed to Blade Flurry. But anyway, here's the thing. My deck has Jade Idols, and therefore I can withstand fatigue, right? So I just keep shuffling and developing and shuffling and developing. What I need is I need armor to withstand hits from the weapon, and I need taunts.
Cannot escape the shadow of death.
But yeah, when I play slow decks, often you will lose to a mill deck that is played well. That's just the reality of it. Yeah, that's just the reality. So to be able to take down or to face off a mill deck and to keep shuffling cards into your deck so you don't get milled, it's a big deal. And this is the versatility of Jade Druid. You saw in the previous game, it dealt very nicely with the Giantslock because of Poison Seeds. And as you're seeing here, we are taking this Mill Rogue to the limit. He's a good player. I mean, he got his ordering correct. He did not want to give me a behemoth. So he got his ordering correct with the saps. In hindsight, I don't know if developing poisonous minions was the right call. The idea was that I could get easy trades into what he has on board and then focus on going face with my Jade Golems. So here I can get two very quick, easy trades, and then I can push 7 to the face. Because I need to do damage in this game. I need to end it as quickly as I can. You saw me toying with the Giantslock earlier, developing Jade Golems when I could have had lethal with Branching Paths. You will not see me toy with this Mill Rogue. It's far too dangerous. Far, far too dangerous. In fact, I'd say this dude's deck is more dangerous than the Giantslock I faced before, because the weapon that he has now has been buffed up substantially. And even with my armor count,
I'm almost out of cards.
that weapon will eat up my armor very, very quickly. Essentially, he will have unlimited access to that weapon. He'll keep drawing it from his deck once it's depleted. I mean, that's 24 damage that's going to be hitting my face. Oh no, scrap that. It's now... Bloody hell, that it's a lot of damage. There's 36 total damage from that buffed up weapon. Yes, it will eat up my armor.
I'm out of cards.
Okay, so we're out of cards here, but that's fine. We can just play the Drake, shuffle, and after we shuffle, so next turn, we can use Wild Growth or Nourish to draw, and then shuffle again. Okay, so we need to think about a turn where we can develop a substantial number of Jade Golems, such that even with the weapon that's got lifesteal, he still can't get through and clear my board. It's being buffed up even more. Wow. And he's gonna buff it up again. This is crazy.
I know who you are.
Okay. This dude plays Eater of Secrets. Wow. If he plays Eater of Secrets, I'm surprised that we haven't seen Skulking Geist. He's clearly teching against different things on the ladder. Okay. This is an interesting turn for me, because that weapon, as I say, is going to go face if I let it. Therefore, I'm putting these taunts in the way, hoping that one of the attacks, at least one of the attacks from the weapon, will go into a taunt, and that will save me 14 damage, at least for this turn. That's the hope. Wow. 16 attack. This is turning out to be a pretty crazy game. And, yeah, no more Spreading Plagues for me. And he's taking full advantage of this. He's going super wide on the board. Wow. Now, I do have double swipe here. So, I could just clear... I could clear the entire board here. And I think that's important. Yeah. I could have armoured up, but developing second Jade Golem I think is much, much better. I want to see how he deals with my Jade Golems. He'll face tank one of them, I assume. Because he's going to heal for 16. Oh, interesting. Okay, so he clears one, leaves one alive, shuffles the weapon. He doesn't want to fatigue. Okay, that's understandable. Okay, so now I have an opportunity to develop a massive, massive board. We've seen both saps. We've seen both vanishes in this game. So now I'm challenging him and I'm saying, what are you going to do? What do you have left? Can you clear this entire board? Now, I'm thinking about committing a fourth golem. And I think it's fine. I think it's wise.
I'm out of cards.
So, 16 damage. Where's it going? It's going face.
I'm out of cards.
So,
Out of cards.
is he hoping for some kind of fatigue win here? This is very close. This is very, very close. So he's doing what he would normally do against any other kind of deck. Avoiding fatigue himself and doing ridiculous amounts of damage. What saved me in this game were the Jade Idols. Right, so against the Mill Rogue, we were able to outlast him. We were able to figure out a turn where we could summon enough Jade Golems such that it would be lethal the following turn, even with a massively buffed up weapon with lifesteal. And, you know, we were able to outlast him through, you know, 2 saps, 2 vanishes, and avoid fatigue. So this deck, yeah, beats mill decks, which is wonderful. And as you saw earlier against the Warlock, you can beat Giantslock due to poison seeds. So this deck certainly has a lot of potential against a lot of the strong sort of meta decks. What you haven't seen me showcase is a game against aggro, and there's the big question mark. Aggro decks are hard to beat, obviously, you know, and you do have tools to beat them. You do have Pyromancer and various cheap spells. You do have swipes. You do have Spreading Plagues. You have Primordial Drake as well. But the trouble is, against aggro, you do have to draw. You have to draw very, very carefully in with cards in the right order. You have to be lucky. You have to draw cards that you can play with a good curve, i.e. you need essentially ramp early into the likes of Branching Paths, perhaps, Swipe, Wrath. You need Spreading Plague on 6, that kind of thing. You need to survive the early onslaught and then be able to essentially start putting down some threats. It's hard. It really is hard against aggro, and I would certainly say that aggro decks, particularly Dude Paladin, I would argue is favoured, because the chances are with this deck you're not going to draw perfectly. You're going to end up with some expensive cards in your opening hand like Aya or Jade Behemoth, and you know, these are great cards, but you can't play them until turn 6, and that's where aggro can just burst you down. But as I say, you know, there is no perfect answer to aggro at the moment, unless you play Control Warrior with shield blocks and multiple whirlwind effects. There's no answer, because of course that kind of Control Warrior is considered bad against everything else. So yeah, great against Dude Paladin, gets wrecked by everything else. Whereas this deck, it's got you know, it's got a fair fighting chance against most of the decks in the current wild meta. So I would recommend it if you're looking for something to ladder with between now and the Witchwood expansion being released. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. Once again, thank you for all of your support. It does mean a lot to me. And you know, we're at sort of 1,100-ish subscribers at the moment, so we're continuing to grow. That's wonderful. I will be releasing my Witchwood pack opening video very shortly, in a couple of days after the expansion releases, and then we're going to go straight into playing some interesting decks on the Wild Mode ladder, featuring some of the new Witchwood cards. So thanks again for joining me. Do take care now, and I'll see you in a few days.